We're moving on here, though. Game 2, Astral Authority versus Dignitas on Infernal Shrines. Statistically, this is Dignitas' strongest map. I believe they have an over 80% win rate on this map in competitive. I think that might not be true after BlizzCon, but it was true at least before BlizzCon in their history as a team. So that's something to be very scared of, especially because this is Dignitas' map choice. Astral Authority is going to start out by banning the Tassadar. This does just eliminate certain avenues in the draft. This makes Sonya worse. This makes Vala worse. This makes Illidan worse. Just, it cuts off a lot of options for certain heroes. Not that those heroes are not going to be bad, but those heroes are not going to be as good. EDC is going to be the ban for Dignitas, and Astral Authority going for Kerrigan. That is a fairly standard pickup lately in the competitive meta, but it's starting to get punished a lot. There are certain heroes, certain compositions that just punish Kerrigan. Double Tank in particular, Arthas for a long time in the EU scene has been considered a very strong counter to Kerrigan. Illidan on Shrines is considered one of those things that if you play it correctly is actually exceptionally strong, because it allows you to take a fight off the shrine and allow the other team never get to the shrine. If Kerrigan doesn't actually physically get on top of the shrine, if you can't fight on the shrine, you're not going to be able to win the Punisher. And Kerrigan's real advantage on this map is that she wins the Punisher. Dignitas also going to lock Interior. That is a lot of support for Illidan. They're drafting as much support for Illidan as they can. If you Illidan comps are always about Illidan, even if he's not necessarily the main damage dealer. He's the biggest damage absorber. He's the distraction. He is the reason the comp is going to be played the way it is. So the rest of the draft is going to be about Illidan. Astral Authority is going to lock in Sylvanas. That isn't just for the push potential if they do win the Punisher. It's actually for Wailing Arrow. Wailing Arrow is one of the best, silences in general are one of the best ways of dealing with Illidan. Because if he can't use any of his fancy mechanics to dodge, then he's just a sitting duck like every other hero. You can start stunning him, you can start bursting him down, and securing those kills. Astral Authority is going to lock in Muradin, just to make sure they do have their tank of choice. I'm actually a little bit surprised by that. I feel like they could have been happy with either Johanna or Muradin as a counter to Illidan. One has blinds, one has an attack speed slow. I'm a little bit surprised they didn't prioritize locking in something else that was more of an Illidan counter, unless they're going to have a surprise in the second half of the draft. We are going to have the Arthas ban for Dignitas. Actually reasonable. Arthas is also considered a counter to Illidan and to some degree to Tyrael in the professional meta. So Zarya going to be the ban out for Astral Authority. That's taking away both shield heroes for Illidan. Comment from chat: why not lock from Bubble Titan? Why not lock Malfurion in for the silence? That's a good question. You'd have to ask Astral Authority. We can call that a malfunction. We're going to have Malfurion picked up for Dignitas here. That is going to give them a lot of counter initiation. Kerrigan dives in, she gets immediately silenced and focused. If Kerrigan's not using her abilities and generating shields, they're going to be in quite a lot of trouble. We're going to need to see a ranged burst damage picked up here for Dignitas. Illidan's like a knife. He doesn't do a lot of damage, but he does it, in the right hands. He does it in exactly the person you need to do it on. But in order to actually secure kills, you kind of need a nuclear weapon. You got the full gamut, right? You go all the way from knife to nuclear weapon, stick and bomb. They're thinking really hard about this. I'm a little bit surprised. It looks like the draft might actually have frozen again. This did happen one time last night. Ooh. actually going to be Medivh. That is even more support for Illidan. And Medivh actually played as a high damage hero in the competitive meta. Once you have Master's Touch stacked up, you do an enormous amount of damage if you can consistently hit your Qs, which obviously at the competitive level, they hit their Qs more often than not, and it gives Illidan yet another save. This means that their comp is going to be basically immortal post-16, especially because all of Astral Authority's damage is currently single target. And it's also, Medivh, considered one of the best counters to Kerrigan because Kerrigan's damage is extremely predictable and Force of Will just demolishes that. I actually wasn't even... Medivh was not even in my mind, but the pickup there makes Astral Authority's entire composition look countered right now, in my mind. Astral Authority is going to pick up Rhaegar. That does give them a burst heal option for Kerrigan, which they pretty much needed. Kerrigan, one of the more, all the heroes that are tagged as melee assassins tend to be pretty fragile, even though most of them have a self-sustain mechanic. They often need a burst heal to make up the difference. And it is going to be the fall stats. They are going to have a global. They're going to have Gust for the disengage, which is always critical to have, and I don't know. I'm really concerned that Astral Authority's comp has nothing but predictable damage. But currently, every single hero in Dignitas counters Kerrigan, and you don't want to get in a situation where the hero that you built your comp around is being hard countered by the entire enemy team. That's why first pick Kerrigan is so risky on Infernal Shrines. And Dignitas, I don't even care what they pick at this point, honestly. They could literally pick anything here, and I would say they won the draft. I feel like they want more burst still, but they could opt for more wave clear as well. Just to make sure they don't get out-rotated by the Sylvanas. Getting out-rotated by a Sylvanas team is always a risk, as we saw in the previous game. You start to lose structures, it starts to get incremental. Advantages on the map. Incremental advantages on the map really do add up over time. It is going to be the Tychus. So it is going to be a way to deal with Muradin, more health. Tychus has the most health of any ranged assassin, so their comp is incredibly durable, has a lot of negation for burst, has the shields from Tyrael. That is an incredible draft, honestly, from Dignitas. Astral Authority is... I really don't think they have the tools necessary to beat that comp. I think this is going to be a fairly one-sided game. This is the risk of picking up Kerrigan early on in the draft. She does have counters. As strong as she is on Infernal Shrine, she is counterable. I do have alerts off for the purposes of the cast. I don't want too many noises, but thank you for all the follows. It's an additional like 25 followers since the stream started. Thank you so much, everyone. This has been amazing the last couple days hanging out with everyone. I really do appreciate it. And shout out to everyone who's watching. Faye, Cure Hots. People that I personally watch and have a lot of fun watching their streams, so it's really cool to see them come into my stream and enjoy my casting. I hope they're enjoying my casting anyway. I wish I was in Beijing too. That would be awesome. I also kind of wish I had a co-caster, so I wasn't casting for 7.5 hours by myself. 3 nights in a row. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm here to bring you Gold League action. I have literally been trying to get Gold League going for English commentary for 6 months. So this has been an amazing experience for me, finally getting to cast these games. It's not even like I'm being paid to cast them, I'm just like casting them. NetEase told me they were providing a clean feed, and I was like, yes! If anything, I'm paying to cast them because, Red Bull. By the way, there was a tweet yesterday. As far as we know, Varian is allowed. Teams just aren't picking him. Varian is actually being allowed for the round robin stage. So we're going to have Astral Authority on the left, June on Rhaegar. I'm going to turn off my cam again. June on Rhaegar, Cattle on Falstad, Coffin Luck on Sylvanas, Fury on Myrddin, and Psalm on Kerrigan. And on the right-hand side of the map, we do have Athero on Illidan, Bakery on Malfurion, Mene on Tychus, JPL on Tyrael, and Snitch on Medivh. Totally nailed the name that time. Feels good. I actually did cast HGC and qualifiers as well. There's VODs on my YouTube channel if you guys want to check them out. I'll be casting more HGC coming up. Looks like we're not going to have any sort of brawl mid. We're going to have the new hotness of Illidan play, where he just sits in a lane and starts pushing directly onto buildings using evasion to suck shots out, and the occasional staggered cooldowns from either his support, or in this case Medivh, to make sure that that damage is not relevant. You can see him waiting in the top lane there for that to start happening. Meanwhile, we have Tychus, Malfurion in the bot lane. We're going to have Tyrael hold down mid. And Dignitas just doesn't really want to fight in the early game. They don't want to risk getting picked off by this 4-man rotation. Of course, Kerrigan is always really scary in that regard. Myrddin as well is a huge concern. We're actually seeing the block picked up, and look at this damage. This is one of the benefits of being able to negate shots. We talk about Shen doing this quite a bit, but Illidan, you know, there's a reason Shen is called Fat Illidan. Illidan was the original. Let's just go kill the building with our enormous ability to dodge shots. He was the original building OG. And we're actually seeing Astral Authority let their lanes get pushed in here. I feel like they're not clearing right away, so that the Dignitas will potentially overextend in that Kerrigan combo. We're actually seeing Kerrigan versus the top lane. Does land the combo onto Athero, but the Force of Will is there. Portal are there for the disengage. And they end up getting almost the entire gate and at least the bottom tower. And so far, they haven't missed any soak and haven't given up any kills. This is Dignitas being completely happy with how this game is going so far, and Astral Authority not being able to secure those early game kills is not at all what they want. Snitch being really annoying here, using portals to get in and out. It's, of course, very difficult to catch up to a Medivh who does not want to be caught up to. Returning to bird form there. And Dignitas is going to pick up 4 first, which means Illidan with Immolation on the Shrine is going to get an immediate lead on the race for the Punisher. Astral Authority needs to soak 4 before they can come in. We actually see the rotation now. 4 is finally picked up. June and Coffin are going to be a little bit late with the dismount there by JPL, making sure the rotation's a little bit slower. Athero using Friend or Foe to dive to Bakery. And we're going to see just the constant poke. Psalm is trying to catch up on the race here. We can see with those level 1 and level 4 key talents just erases those minions so incredibly quickly. But we're going to see Athero battling him for those minions. They're monsters, I should say. And Dignitas, because they hit 4 first, still ahead on the race despite the fact that their race is slightly worse. And we're going to see actually a dive onto Fury here. Fury taking a lot of damage. He does end up getting rooted, and we are going to see the pick-off. Oh, Psalm ends up going down on the Kerrigan. Fury barely gets out of the Shrine area, but does not make it all the way back to his towers before going down. Snitch with the portals, enabling the chase. And that's going to be the first Punisher going over to Dignitas 100%. And normally when we see Kerrigan on this map, we see her executing those combos, we see her putting a lot of damage onto people, securing kills, but that's just not what we're going to see out of this because of Force of Will, because of the maneuverability, because of the shields, because of the high health pools. It's just not going to work that way. We are going to see Falstad fly down to the bottom lane. He's going to try and keep Astral Authority even in experience by getting those lanes pushed in, but this is, again, look at Dignitas. They're not pushing with the Punisher. They end up getting the entire fort, and then they just go down to mid lane and abuse the fact that, again, Illidan can absorb these shots with evasion and his cooldown reduction and just burn through this building so incredibly quickly. That is a wall gone. They could even potentially, stay and get the well if they wanted to be greedy. They are up 7-6, but they just back up. There's no reason for them to play risky at all. They are so incredibly far ahead, and now they're going to get bottom wall as well. Why not? Pretty standard talent pickup so far. We are going to see that Master's Touch. I wish I could tell you guys how far along that is. We'll try and keep an eye on the cooldown, see if we can figure it out. And we're actually going to see Muradin pick up, I believe that's Reverberation at level 4. This is something we've seen quite a bit from Chinese and Korean teams as a way to counter Illidan harder, picking up Reverberation. Actually, not 100% certain if Reverb's purple. They do keep changing the icon colors for Muradin's W talents at 4. So as a cast, it's a little harder. Athero going to get caught a little bit here, but he does have Render Foe, manages to dive out. And we are going to see both teams just soaking, grabbing their camps. We do see Dignitas manage... It is still Thunderbird. Okay, I'm not crazy. That's what I thought. It is the first cast of the night, guys. And I actually took a nap before the cast, so I'm a little bit still waking up, but we'll get there. Middle Shrine is going to be the next one up. We're actually going to see the Siege Camp pushing in. This camp could easily secure a well. And if the well ends up going down, there's no possibility that Astral Authority manages to contest this. But honestly, this close to 10, it's too dangerous for them to contest anyway. They should push in with the Sylvanas, hoping to get some free structure damage and catch up into experience on the back of it. But JPL and Snitch are going to put the kibosh on that idea. We do see Snitch immediately, as he misses his Q, he immediately mounts back up, dismounts again. He's looking for that Q reset. Looks like he doesn't quite get it there. Definitely not going to get Master's Touch stacks if you're not hitting your Qs. Illidan on the point, Dignitas up 10-9. Leyline Seal, Sanctification, Odin, which was the default pick on this map, even before Tychus' rework and the recent buff to Odin, Twilight Dream, and Metamorphosis. Dignitas does finish that off as quickly as possible, and we are going to see them pushing into the mid lane now. This is pretty much going to guarantee middle fort, and honestly, they're going to be able to probably rotate down and get bot fort as well if they opt not to push in with the Punisher. They probably can't get a keep wall unless they can secure a pick anyway, so it makes more sense to rotate down and get all of the forts off the map, while Astral Authority is forced to deal with the Punisher. Cattle is going to get rotated on. He actually almost ends up going down, but he does have Gust available. Does manage to get out of the situation. Snitch actually looking for the kill here, hunting him down, and he's probably only more than like 1 or 2 Qs away. Cattle does have barrel roll available, does leave. Snitch is just constant. Snitch with the threat here. The threat is real. We are going to see the rotation down. They are at least going to get the well. They get some real damage onto the fort before they're forced to back up. And here we see the most annoying part of going up against Medivh. It's not the Force of Will. It's not the portals. It's the fact that he always knows exactly where you are, and there's nothing you can do about it. Scouting is so critical in Heroes of the Storm. And look, they know it's 100% safe for them they know it's 100% safe to take this camp because Snitch is literally on top of 3 members of your team. He sees Cattle as well. They know exactly where everyone is. Illidan is in the top lane, getting that experience, keeping them ahead, in the lead they've managed to develop so far. And we're seeing the invade here, but Snitch sees the invade, and we are going to see Illidan on the top Bruiser camp, making sure that they will have that lane pressure. They decide to sacrifice their siege. At this point, Dignitas is just playing so slow and careful. I feel like they're actually going to try and soak 13 or force a fight on top of the next objective. They don't want to fight before that happens, though. We're going to see Snitch just trying to get stacks, JPL just being aggressive as necessary. We're going to see Kerrigan combo come down, but again, with the beautiful Force of Will, Cattle with the fly in, Fury with the jump out. They're both trying to leave. Maelstrom finally gets popped, and nope. Maelstrom being forced to get used before the Shrine objective. It's actually really bad. For those of you who don't know exactly how Maelstrom works, exactly how Kerrigan's shield mechanic works, she actually has an upper limit to the amount of shield she's allowed to have. It's not like it stacks forever, but Maelstrom does hit every target in range. It does not have a target cap the way, say, Hyperion does. It hits every possible target. So she stacks up her shields incredibly quickly on the shrines because it's hitting all of the shrine minions. So having it not available for the shrine fight is really bad. It pretty much means they're going to have to sacrifice it. It's one of the most critical tools that Kerrigan provides for winning the Punishers on Infernal Shrines. It's one of the reasons she's strong in addition to those level 1 and 4 talents. We are going to see a lot of push here, though. This is a Sylvanas comp. They don't necessarily need to win the Punisher to get a ton of free damage onto buildings. They are going to just push in here. They're going to start to do damage directly to the building with the rotation from Dignitas. They're leaving Illidan on the shrine. Everyone else is going to rotate down. This is a 5v4, but Astral Authority kind of forced to back up. And we're going to see Illidan clear the lane, get rid of that bruiser camp. And Dignitas is just going to continue to push in this bot lane, and they're going to secure this bottom 4 while Illidan continues to soak. And now Dignitas is just exceptionally far ahead in structures and in tempo on the map. And Astral Authority constantly being reactive almost to everything Dignitas is doing. They just can't quite seem to get an edge at any point. And I almost feel like Astral Authority just hasn't played against this strategy enough to understand exactly how to respond to it. We're going to see a beautiful CC chain onto Athero, but he does have Metamorphosis that does allow him to get out. He actually walks back to the portal to get even further away. That's cute. Almost managing to pick on the Illidan, but he is out of there. He is absolutely fine. And credit to Astral Authority, they are actually keeping up in experience. They haven't been more than a level behind. They've been a level behind all game, but they haven't been more than a level behind. On the other hand, Reabsorption at 16 is going to make Illidan and almost everyone else on Dignitas basically unkillable, because those Force of Wills will actually end up healing instead of just negating damage. And we're actually going to see a rotation on Fury here. Ancestral and Avatar both pop. Sanctification did put down for the deny the counter engage. We're actually seeing the silence timed very nicely there. As soon as Sank ends, Silence ends up going down, and Kerrigan gets absolutely erased. That is the benefit of Malfurion against those heavy dive heroes. And we're going to see Cawthon take so much damage, but Gus barely manages for the save. We're going to see Thero dive onto Fury, but he does just opt to disengage. And they do end up getting one kill. Both teams used basically all their heroics, and only one person went down. It was actually a pretty clean fight from both teams. Just a small advantage by Dignitas. And we talked about the Kerrigan being countered. Kerrigan is the most likely hero to die in all these fights because all of her mechanics have been denied. All of her ways of surviving are just off the table against this comp from Dignitas. We're going to see another pick on... That's another pick onto Psalm. Kerrigan ends up going down. The chase is real this time. Cawthon will not get saved by Gust. Meta actually did to deny, and then Cattle will end up going down as well. We're going to see Thera continue to chase Fury. Tries to get the Reaver, or get the slow, the attack speed slow, the Thunderclap onto Athro to disengage, and he will back up and just to get the tower instead. This is going to be a keep easily for Dignitas. The Death Timers are now long enough that these kills are going to start resulting in inner structure damage. Sank and Odin are still available. But we're going to see them back off. They're just going to secure the objective. This is going to allow them to secure a bottom keep as well as soon as they secure the objective. Astral Authority really doesn't want to fight this. 14 to 17, they are down a talent tier. But on the other hand, 3 levels down is far enough down that you can't really soak to catch up unless you're comfortable with a 19 to 16 fight. That's the best opportunity you're going to have. And that's not good either. Astral Authority actually does not have any good choices right now, so the question is which bad choice do they prefer the most? And it looks like they are going to just try and soak 16. They're going to go for the team fight as soon as the Punisher is dead. If they have 16 and the Punisher dies, they're also going to grab their top bruiser camp. This is going to give them some lane pressure in the top lane, which is something they need desperately. No force even down yet for Dignitas. Punisher dive in. Dignitas is going to dive in with it. They're trying to secure those kills. We do see a Thero getting his cooldown resets on the keep. He's trying to keep that. Trying to keep all his cooldowns available, and as soon as Astral Authority overextends, they will end up going on them. But for now, they're just waiting. They're waiting for the Punisher. They are going to get the keep down. The wave is going to start pushing in. Catapults are not here from the mid lane. It's also something they're considering. The Gust for the disengage, and that is going to allow Astral Authority to burn down the Punisher very quickly, even though it is on core. And meanwhile, are we going to see Illidan on core? We're going to see Sanctification. We're actually going to see the core call from Dignitas. They have Illidan on core, Sanctification 30%, 20%. 16 is finally picked up for Astral Authority right as they lose the game. GG.